out here in these streets. All right.
And you know what I
y'all.
think about? Since we're talking about the milk, baby formula, but I might be going too far. But I know, like, isn't cow milk in a baby formula?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It has proteins in it. It has whey and casein in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean,
And that's in a lot of things. Protein powders. Like,
yeah.
A lot of things.
I don't talk too much about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It has to have a base.
We're talking about milk today. I've got my as much as this looks like Kool-Aid, y'all. This is not Kool-Aid. That is that is some emergency.
Oh.
Yes, emergency. So I'm gonna be sipping on this because to boost my immune system as I come out of my what Ness said, what we say is very important. So I'm not gonna say the SICKNESS word.
Yes.
Gonna say,
it's on your way to wellness.
There we go. I love it. On my way to wellness, I'm gonna be sipping on my powdered vitamin C.
There's nothing wrong with that. Oh my goodness. Man. No, today I'm so excited because we're gonna be talking about milk. But another reason why I'm excited is because next week we have a special guest, and we're gonna pick up where we left off last week, where we were talking about mushrooms. But next week we're gonna talk about the psychedelic effect of mushrooms. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be more interview style, conversation style. It might be a mix of both, but I'm super excited for next week's conversation. So this week is just like, another important topic, but we're gonna pick up on mushrooms next week. So this week we're gonna be talking about cow's milk. Now I'm just gonna do a survey. Does anybody on this call drink cow's milk?
No.
Do you cook with it? Do you cook with
it? I don't. Well, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. Yesterday, I made some bread pudding and I used cream and buttermilk, but I don't normally do those things. I normally do my substitutes, but I never drink with it. And no, I do not cook with it. Even when I make like if I'm making pancakes or I put like milk in my eggs. So I don't know who else does that, but it's always almond milk I use.
Does it? Okay. So it's unsweetened almond milk.
Unsweetened almond milk. Yep. Unsweetened.
Now, does it change the texture of the eggs? Or the consistency?
Yeah, it makes it fluffier the same way like it would the same way like it would if you were doing it with regular milk. It changes the texture in the exact same way.
Oh, perfect.
It may be a little less fluffy, but it still gives it fluffy. It's still fluffier than it were if you didn't use anything.
Is it a 1-to-1? What you would do for?
No, it's not. You know what? I don't even count it at this point. I crack my eggs and then I do a little count. I don't know who else measures like that, but I just be like 1, 2, like a little splash. And
we do the eyeball method in this household. Very measuring cups or spoons.
I'm like a little splash. That looks like enough. And then you mix it up. You like that looks like the right color.
Yes. It's the right amount of white to yellow or whatever, but
right.
I know exactly what you're saying. We've been there. We do that all the time. But I will say, right, growing up, we've always been taught that cow's milk is part of our pyramid, right? That's part of one of our essential food groups. It's supposed to be one of those, I'm not sure, I can't remember the term, where it's like a complete food group, right? You have your proteins, you have your calcium, your minerals, your vitamins, right? You have the things that you need to put it on that pyramid. Well,
that pyramid was a sham. That pyramid was a sham. But anyway, go ahead.
We grew up on that pyramid, right?
We did, yeah.
I know, like
on this call we did. They don't use it anymore now, though.
Sure what they're doing now, it's just like,
it's the My Plate. They use My Plate now.
Oh, and portions.
So if you go on like Yeah, so it's myplate.gov for anybody who wants to like check that out, right? Myplate.gov and or choose myplate.gov, right? But basically it's a plate and then they'll say like, you know, you want a quarter of your plate to have this on it, you want half of your plate to have that on it. And so they do it like that. Now they don't even use the food pyramid anymore. It's antiquated. But yeah, you're right. We did grow up on that nonsense.
And it's like
and have
once
since learned.
Yes. You go all these years and you're like, wait a minute, what? That's not a real thing?
So I'm not supposed to be so I'm not supposed to be having more bread than anything else?
What is going on? It's the day you have that revelation. It's kind of like, wow, okay, that explains a lot of things, but we're not even gonna get into that. But so yeah, so milk for a long time has been like one of those things that has been promoted for all of its good benefits to us. But then there are some dark sides to it, right? So aside from the cruelty that the animals endure, right, to produce all of this milk, right? They have the mama cows that get pregnant. As soon as the baby is born or the calf is born, they're separated and the mom is just milked for months and months and months until she can get pregnant again. And then she's milked and milked and milked. The baby is gone, right? So there's a lot of cruelty that goes on with that industry. And then let's talk about the environmental effects, right? Cows have greenhouse, like was it ethane or methane that they let out, release? It kind of puts, it's destroying the ozone layer. So that's another effect of that. But aside from that, there are some things within our bodies. Now, I have a question. This is just, so when you hear the term lactose intolerance, do you believe that is something that affects all of us equally? Or are there a subset of, people that are affected greater?
All right, I know the answer to this one. So Zip, if you want to take a stab at it before I go into it.
I don't know the answer, but I want to say based off of what the news tell us, certain people can be lactose intolerant and they can't have milk or they can't drink milk because it makes them really sick.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go and add that Black people be lactose intolerant.
That's like disproportionately we are, but there's a reason, right? So when somebody is considered lactose intolerant, let me just say that they're mainly self-reported, right? So there's no real standardized assessment to say this person is lactose intolerant. I mean, there probably is, but it's a super expensive test that providers don't do. So they listen to what their patients are saying and saying, okay, well, every time this person consumes dairy or milk or any milk-based product, they get stomach upset, they're probably lactose intolerant. So a lot of the people that have lactose intolerance are self-reported. So it just basically means that you don't have the enzyme to break down the lactose. So you're missing lactase. That's an enzyme that breaks it down in your body. And so when your body is not able to break down the substance that it takes in, it just causes a bunch of upset in your stomach, right? So you get bloating, you get stomach cramps, you get nausea, diarrhea, right? So you get a lot of uncomfortableness within your belly because it's just sitting there and your body's like, okay, I need to do something with it, but I can't break it down. Now, there is an exception to that. Sometimes people that have lactose intolerance know they can't necessarily drink glasses of milk on end, but they can eat yogurt. Do you know why that?
Yeah, because well, I know Greek yogurt doesn't have a lot of lactose in it, right? So certain types of yogurt and certain types of cheeses don't have it either. If you could tell, I have previously been lactose intolerant, but not anymore because I've done some things.
Yes.
Yep.
So a Swiss cheese is actually a good one. Like they say, like hard cheeses are okay if you're lactose intolerant. But also because all yogurts are cultured, which means they have active bacteria within them. and the lactobacillus, the bacteria within the yogurt actually breaks it down in your belly for you. So that way, if you're missing that enzyme, you're not so uncomfortable because the bacteria is doing it for you. Nice. When you, that's why some people that have self-reported lactose intolerance can tolerate yogurt. And there are 4 types of intolerance, right? You have your primary, which many of us, which is the most common one, many of us develop it later on in life. You have your congenital, if somebody is born with a condition that they're lacking that enzyme, like a baby is born with that lacking that enzyme, they're considered a congenital intolerance. You also have secondary. So if somebody has an injury, an illness, or if they have like surgery to their small intestine, they can develop secondary lactose intolerance. And then you have developmental. So sometimes when babies are born prematurely, they can have developmental lactose intolerance, right? It's not that common, but those are the 4 types. And the most common is the primary, which many adults experience. And so there were several studies out there, but I looked at about 5 of them. And without giving exact numbers, the range for African Americans that have lactose intolerance was between 71 was 72%. One was 72%, and the highest was 80, I think 80 or 81%. So I'm just going to say the range is for African Americans in America, there's about between a 70 and 80% chance that there's some type of intolerance to lactose, which is really high considering overall in America, the prevalence of lactose intolerance is only 36%. So if you think of percent of the entire, population of America, self-report a lactose intolerance. Well, in that portion, there's African Americans, and of the African Americans that report it, between 70 and 80% say that they have some type of lactose intolerance. Now, there is like a theory, there's like a couple papers that are circulating around that says like that dates back to our ancestral days, but they can't really identify what the link is. They just know that African Americans have a higher rate or incidence of lactose intolerance. So I don't know, I didn't have access to, or I wasn't able to dig up, any other information other than, it's something that's in our DNA that says that we're not supposed to drink milk from cows past a certain age.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting because it develops in people, right? Like they don't, they don't, it's not, what did you say? Congenital, right?
Congenital. I mean, it is in a very small percentage congenital, right? Majority of it.
But for the majority, it develops over time.
Right. Right. And
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
And nobody knows. Nobody knows. They're trying to figure it out.
People that know, but it's just a matter of, is that information public or known to other people? Or, I mean, it could be very complex or something to try to figure out. Like, how do you date back to say, okay, what specifically is in their DNA that makes it so that they have a higher incidence of lactose intolerance, as they get older? But I'm just thinking, we follow nature. Nature is perfect, right? And in nature, cows drink cow's milk, goats drink goat milk, humans drink human milk if the mom is able to produce. I don't know in nature if a bird drinks a goat's milk. I don't know.
It does not happen. That's real though. It's like we're weirdos. We are real weirdos, for that. I don't know, but
well, let's look back a little bit into how that happened, right? So there's an industry of farmers. They want to maximize their profits. Somebody says, oh, well, that's milk. Well, milk, we drink milk, right? Mama produces milk, right? Like, maybe we can drink that. And then somewhere along the line, it became this like normalized thing that, hey, this animal here produces a substance called milk, similar to what, the women produce in our species. We can supplement our supply with their supply. then we don't have to worry about if mom can't produce it, right? So, and it just became one of those things that we were told is beneficial to us. Now, yes, there is calcium in it. There is protein in it. There's also high fats in it, right? But if you're looking for calcium, you're looking for protein, there are plenty of other natural sources to get those nutrients from, right? We don't have to say, okay, maybe milk is a convenient option, but there are other healthy options that come from the ground, come from nature, that nature has said to you, here you go. You want some calcium? Here's some broccoli. Here's some oranges. You know what I mean? Like, here you go.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yep.
it's
We ain't
convenient.
gotta be doing all of that.
We don't.
Over here.
We don't.
Drinking cow's milk and using it for everything. Yeah, there's a million other sources that we could be using. Yeah. And almond milk is easy to make at home. I don't make my own almond milk.
I have it in here. I have the steps. It's like literally like
I get the recipe. Yeah. The recipe is not. I have the recipe, but I haven't used it yet. So I should use it. But when I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is really simple. It just takes a lot of almonds, I think, to make the amount of almond milk that and that's the thing. But it's just like you just soak them and you put
yep. You put the cheesecloth. You can either rinse them. Or you can keep that water. If you want it to be thicker, you keep the water that they soak in and you put it through the cheesecloth and then you put it in the blender and then you add some more water to it. And then you put like, you know, if you want a little vanilla extract or whatever taste you want to put in there, you put it in and you're good to go. It really is simple, but you're right. It does require a significant amount of almonds to get, you know, the amount of almond milk that you're seeking. So, and almonds can be kind of pricey. But if I'm not mistaken, and I will actually go back and double check this, what you're getting to make it yourself, the amount that you're of actual almonds that you're getting in what you're making at home is less per like unit of measurement versus what you're getting in the store, because what you're getting in the store a lot of times is I wonder if I have an almond milk. I was going to say I might have an almond milk in my fridge. A lot of times there's other ingredients in there that are kind of fillers and taste additives. So you're not getting all almonds in there versus when you do it at home, you know exactly what you're getting. So you're getting more almonds. And you know, when you put it through the cheesecloth to kind of strain it, you get like little shreds of almond. You can put it right over your oatmeal. If you eat oatmeal, if you have yogurt, you can put it over your, right? So you're not wasting it. You know exactly what it is. You can have the little slivers of almonds and put it wherever you want to, right? You can repurpose it. So you're not wasting, but yeah, so I just talk about, I think there's only 4 alternatives, but there's plenty of other alternatives to regular cow's milk, right? And so I was going to talk about the nutritional. So 8 ounces of cow's milk has about 8 grams of protein, which is good, right? 12 grams of carbs, but it also has about 12 grams of sugar. So you're thinking, where in the world does all this sugar come from? 8 grams of 0 grams of fiber. Actually, there's no fiber in regular cow's milk, but you do have 8 grams of fat, and that's saturated fat. But then let me see, where did I put it? So oat milk also is a really good source of fiber. So 8 ounces of oat milk has between 2 and 4 grams of fiber, but that does depend on the brand that you get. Now, since we aren't sponsored by any brands, we're not going to shout out any brands, but I will say is when you're looking at almond milk in the store, you want the one with the fewest amount of ingredients, because that is the closest thing to you making your almond milk at home. Yes, the other ones might taste a little better because they have those sweeteners or whatever else in them. But you're also getting extra ingredients. So just be mindful of that. I mean, unless you know what those other ingredients are doing to or for your body, then probably just avoid it if you can, right? If that's an option for you. You also get vitamin D, B12, and oat milk. Like regular oat milk has a low glycemic index. So that's a a term that we use for patients that have diabetes when they're looking for foods or alternative foods that they can consume that have a low glycemic index. That just means it's not going to spike your blood sugar up. So that's a good option if you are a patient with diabetes. And, you know, like I said, the regular milk has sugar in it. Oat milk has a small, did I say almond? I apologize. I was talking about oat milk. This whole time I was talking about oat milk.
Nope, oat milk. Yep,
oh,
we
okay.
got you. Oat milk, girl. Oat milk.
Okay. Has a low glycemic index, right? And so that one has about 4 grams of fat in it. It has 2 grams of protein, and 2 to 4 grams of fiber. So then the next option is almond milk, which we already discussed. It's super easy to make, and that is made with like mature almonds, right? 1 cup has about 60 calories. Did I talk about the calories for regular milk?
You can remind us. Yeah, we talked about a couple of different calories. I remember you going over. Just talk about it. Talk about it.
The regular cow's milk, a cup of cow's milk has 152 calories in 8 ounces versus almond milk with 60 calories. Some of them actually only have 30.
That's what I want to say. My almond milk has 30 calories.
Yep. So the 60, I guess it does depend on if you're getting like the flavored almond milk or I should say sweetened versus unsweetened almond milk. So that's where the calorie content might differ as well as the sugar content. But also a cup, 8 ounces of almond milk has 30% of your daily recommended value of calcium and 25% vitamin D of your daily recommended value of vitamin D, right? And another good thing about almond milk. So almond milk is made with almonds. Almonds are really high in vitamin A, retinol, which is good for our skin and our eyesight. So 1 cup of almond milk has about 15% of your daily recommended value of vitamin A. Who knew? I didn't know that.
And so talking about skin, because you said something, and forgive me if like you were about to get into this or if you're going to get into this a little bit later, but I just want to be mindful of the time. But you were saying that cow's milk actually can cause acne. So can we get into that a little bit while we still have some time to dig into it?
Absolutely, if you want to. So, okay, so cow's milk has been linked to a lot of things, right? And, I don't want to say, we'll save that for another one. We'll save that for another one. But skin conditions like acne, it's known to cause flare-ups in acne, not necessarily just in women, for men and women equally, but that's because in cow's milk, there are a lot of added hormones, right? There's hormones in the milk that disrupt our natural hormones and throw off our natural homeostasis. And that causes our skin to be inflamed. And a lot of times acne is from bacteria, right? Bacteria that's on our skin, underneath our skin. And it just exacerbates that condition and leads to acne. The milk.
Crazy. It's in the milk. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes it may be the milk that's the problem. And I also know that, you hear things about how milk increases mucus production and inflammation and all these things. And, like there's so many different downsides to it for all the good sides. And you hear people who are just like, I love milk. I drink, 5 glasses of milk a day. And, you hear that and they don't have any problem at all. But for a lot of people, it's an issue.
You're right. It's because the cows are given artificial growth hormones, and those artificial growth hormones actually disrupt our naturally occurring hormones and just cause our skin to flare up, and, leads to acne on our face, on our backs, so just if you are noticing,
no bueno.
Yeah, right. And so they have like the protein, like they have whey in it, they have casein in it, and those also can trigger acne in people, right? Those extra proteins. if you are a person and you're noticing like, hey, this acne is just not going away. I've done topical treatments, I've done the sun treatment. I've done a lot of things, except for change my diet. Look to see how much milk-based products you are consuming. And if that is like say the average consumer, maybe consider decreasing, because everything that you're looking for in milk or that you're receiving from cow's milk, you can get, and there's an alternative for everything, right? So if you're saying it's the calcium, again, you do your oranges, you do your broccoli. If you're saying it's the fats, there's other ways to get saturated fats. You know what I mean? So there are other alternatives, and just document it, right? It doesn't hurt to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut back on my milk consumption for the next 30 days and see how that does with my skin. That doesn't hurt anybody. So, I mean, if you're experiencing that, just try it, document it, let your provider know, what's going on. If you have a dermatologist or even your PCP, just let them know like, hey, I've been trying this. I have, just have that conversation. And again, there's no harm in saying less milk in for 30 days. There really is no, I can't think of anything that says, if you go without drinking cow's milk for 30 days, these are the harmful effects that your body is going to. I can't think of anything because there's always alternatives for whatever it is that you're getting from the milk. You can get from another source. So yeah, I mean, I would just encourage anybody, if you're experiencing acne or outbreaks and you don't know why, look at your diet. Look at the sugar.
And you can also do like blood tests, like a food sensitivities test.
Yes.
That's really easy. I actually have a link to one on my Instagram site. So I have a link.
Your Instagram.
Yeah. I'll drop it in on the YouTube page, but I'll also drop it, in the description, but I'll also drop it in the group, and I'll put the link directly into the group. So in that way, it's there for people who want to do it. It's a blood, it's a blood test. You have to go through that. And it, depending upon which one you have, they have like a one option is more complete than another one. Kind of just depends on what you want to pay for it. Yeah. But it goes to a lab, it gets evaluated, it comes back with like recommendations with what you may be, what the labs say that you are most likely sensitive to. And yeah, you can go ahead and from there make your dietary decisions, based off of that. But absolutely, a lot of these things that people, we have these allergic reactions to the foods that we're eating. I just had one earlier this week, actually, while I was still like in the throes of not being well. I was eating something and I noticed like my eyes just started watering, and my eyes were watering and they were like burning. And I was like, what is this? I was like, what, and the first time that it happened, I was like, man, this is a weird cold. And then, and then the next day I had the thing again, and like immediately after, and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, it's this thing that's doing it. So, now I know the culprit. But it's like, it's something that I ate, and it's something I would not have thought would have given me that, because it wasn't a previous allergy. It wasn't. So it's something within that thing that I had, and so we can have physical symptoms of certain things. It's not always stomach upset. Sometimes, sometimes it is the traditional allergy symptoms, like some things that I'm allergic to. My tongue starts itching. Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, like,
do you have an EpiPen at home?
I don't have an EpiPen, but I need one. So if you, pharmacist friend of mine, but how do you get an EpiPen, right? Because this is something I've been thinking.
You just tell your provider you need an EpiPen. You have documented allergies or at least hypersensitivities to certain foods. You need that in case to have it, if ever you need to have it.
Yeah,
right.
That's been on my mind. Yeah, it's been on my mind to do that, because I have a couple of allergies that they haven't given me like crazy issues, but I have a few things that I'm like, I have an allergy to that. And yeah,
you never
haven't had any, anaphylaxis yet, but knock on wood. Where's the wood? Here's it.
But that's, it's important to have. Anybody that has a known documented hypersensitivity to anything or any allergy to anything, I always say you talk to your provider and get an EpiPen. EpiPens come in a pack of 2, right? And pay for it. They're good. I mean, the shelf life, when we get them in the pharmacy, they're good for at least 2 years. I mean, a couple years ago, there was this huge back order of them, but that's not an issue anymore. So if you have a primary care provider, or an allergist, somebody that you see, you should always, always have an EpiPen. Always. I can't stress that enough.
Noted.
Yeah.
Copy. I mean, yeah.
Somebody can pop as many Benadryls as they want, but they need the epinephrine in that type of situation. But they'll need diphenhydramine is not going to do it, in situation. So, yes, this is me just saying to you as a friend.
Yes. Feel like, yeah, gotcha. I feel like I'm getting scolded. I got you.
This is not at all. This is a friend talking to a friend saying, listen, it's important. We only have one body. We have to treat our body good. And we have to have the tools sometimes in case our body needs that. Our bodies are amazing things, but sometimes they just need a little boost, right? You got some vitamin C, that's a little boost. Epinephrine, that's a big boost.
A little boost. Yep. Little boost. Little boost when things are going downhill. Got you. So bringing it back. Bringing it back to the dairy.
So you have options. You could do oat milk. You could do almond milk. You can do soy milk, although soy milk has its criticism for the estrogen content. It does have some benefits. It is fortified with all of the same nutrients that regular milk has. Most soy milks has been fortified, meaning it's been gone through a process and those nutrients have been added to it to be similar to cow's milk. So you can do that. You could do coconut milk, right? I love coconut milk.
Same.
As long as you have a hypersensitivity or an allergy to coconuts, coconut milk is awesome. It's thinner. It has like a sweet taste to it, but it's really good, right? It has good fats in it. I think the medium chain triglycerides, which is just like another way of saying fats, like, So it has those.
What's your thought on people who are like, I'm gonna get mother's milk? Have you ever heard that before? Mother's milk? Okay. So we don't have to talk about it today, but I'm gonna put this in your head and and everybody else who's watching it. But mother's milk is basically women, humans, right?
Yeah.
Who pump their breast milk and they sell their breast milk to like grown adults. And and so people will drink mother's milk for its, health benefits and nutrients, right?
Yes.
As grown people, as opposed to like drinking cow's milk, for instance. So it's basically it's human milk.
So here's my thought. This is just on the spot.
I mean, you don't have to on the spot, right? You can think about this and give an answer at another time if you want to, right? Like,
how about I just give you my initial thought, right? This is okay. So I will say, as long as that breast milk has been screened for any type of illness that can be transmitted through breast milk, right? Because it's a human fluid, right? And so if the body is not well, whatever not wellness is in the body can be transmitted through the breast milk, right? So as long as that milk has been screened and it's free of any illness, right? I know that there are programs when a new mom is not able to produce breast milk or adequate amounts, that there are breast milk banks where there are other moms who are overproducers and they give their milk. And I think that's a beautiful thing, right? Because there are some moms that say, I do not want my child to have formula. I want my child to have what is produced from the human body. If my body is not able to do that, this other woman has been gracious enough to, give us the supply. I think that's a beautiful thing. For adults, it seems weird at first, but then it can't be any more weird than us drinking from a cow's nipple.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm for it. I'm just saying that the whole thing is, like I said earlier, we're weirdos. We're weirdos. But
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, we cannot be turned off to the fact that a person says, listen, I want to consume milk. I know there's so many antibodies, so many vitamins, nutrients, all of that stuff that our body needs is excreted in the breast milk, right? That's why it's so beneficial to babies. So if it's beneficial to babies, then it's going to be beneficial to me. And I can't say, wow, that's gross. And then turn around and say, well, you see that cow over there with cysts all over it and can't even stand because it's been stuck. Oh, let's drink that milk. I can't say that. I really cannot say that. It's a different concept. But when you think about it, when I think about it logically, I say, that makes sense. I don't see anything wrong with it. Like I said, as long as it's been screened, because again, there are some illnesses that can be transmitted through breast milk. As long as it's been screened and it's clear of any of that, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. And I feel like that also goes the same for like cow's milk or goat's milk, again, if they are being screened for illnesses, because a lot can be again, it's a transfer, like a conduit, right? So you have the nutrients that are coming from mom to whoever the receiver is. And in this case, it's, mother cow or mother goat, right? Depending
Right.
on which kind of milk you're drinking, to grown ass, grown human person, and can also transmit whatever they may have had to us, the same way that we can transmit that to our children, our babies. So, I mean, so much to think about. And the more that I sit up here and have this conversation with you, the more that I'm like, definitely like the nut options, as long as I'm not actually allergic to it, don't develop an allergy. I like coconut water. I like coconut milk, but because, it's just the saturated fat content.
Yeah.
I think about that kind of stuff. And so, I like soy milk. I don't normally drink it, but I will drink it if there's not almond milk. And again, when you said about the like fetal estrogens and all of that, like it's definitely something to consider. So it's like, you want to do things, maybe do them in moderation, do them as simply as possible, get your nutrients from a varied source of places, and go forth and live a long, happy life, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, whatever is in milk, whatever content your body needs, or you're getting health benefit wise, you can get from another source that nature has given to us. So it's just about expanding our knowledge, and doing what's best for ourselves, right? And so sometimes there's cost that comes into play, but I assure you, if you look, there are other alternatives.
There
are always other alternatives. I heard somebody talking about eating dandelions. You ever heard that?
Yeah, dandelion roots.
And they told us they were weeds. Like,
right. No, you can have dandelion. Yeah, you can do it. People drink dandelion teas. They'll eat dandelions in their salads, right? Because there's medical benefit. I mean, there's benefits to it. Yeah.
But see, we were always told those are the ugly weeds. They're not flowers, they're ugly weeds that grow. So when you have, you got to cut your grass, you got to treat your grass whenever they start to grow. But it's like, who knew?
Yeah. I mean, we eat sunflower seeds, and sunflower. I don't know. Sunflowers are weeds or not? Are they?
I eat sunflower seeds every now and then. Not that often. I like
we get told a lot of things, right? So it's like busting some of these myths wide open.
Ooh,
and doing what is best for us. And I think it's important for us to know that we are all different. So what's good for one person may not be good for you.
Right.
And that's just how it is. So getting to know yourself and like what you can tolerate, what you're sensitive to. If you can drink milk all day and it doesn't, cow's milk all day and it doesn't bother you, go forth and do that, but over here,
right,
you ain't gonna see me do that. It's not good for me to be doing that all the time, right? Like, No. And when somebody says that there's milk in something, I gotta be like, shoot, do I need to go take my probiotic with the lactase enzyme in it? Or like, because I know it's gonna be a rough night and I'm not,
right.
I'm like, think about the people that you're around. Think if you don't care about yourself, at least think about the people you're around. Do they need to be smelling that all night? No.
Tolerance is intolerable.
For real, be going around really smelling like methane for real, like just smelling like straight up chemicals. And it's like, nope. I don't want to.
Wait, what are you doing? We don't know what we're doing here. We can't do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't get it the first time. So that's why a lot of times when people have a hypersensitivity, they might be exposed to something one time and the body's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not sure I really like this. Then the second time they get a reaction to it. And the third time is even worse. And they're like, well, I've had this before and it was okay the first time. The second time I got a little, uncomfortable. But the third time it's because your body is like, all right, I tried to tell you nicely that I'm a little insensitive to this. I'm not really feeling this, but you didn't get it. So now my immune response to this has to be heightened or elevated to get your attention. And that's our body's way of protecting us, right? A hypersensitivity is our body's way of doing what it thinks is necessary to protect us.
Yeah, but all wrong though. Right. It's our body's way of protecting us, but also that can be the most destructive thing. It's like, it's not even the thing itself that hurt you. It was your body's response to it, trying to overcompensate and overhelp you. Like, I don't need that much help. Chill.
No, because I gave you the subtle hint the second time you tried it. You ignored that. So now I need all hands on deck. This person's not supposed to be consuming this.
Oh yeah, you gonna know. You don't know for sure.
Your third exposure is like, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily third time. It could be the fourth, it could be the fifth, but that's our body just does that. That's his way of saying, okay, I sent off a little bell the first time. Okay, you tried it again. Give me 2 bells this time. Ring the alarm. Just set the whole thing.
Ring the alarm. I've been doing this too long. Man.
It doesn't get it.
That's a hot mess.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, just be mindful. Cow's milk can contribute to a lot of, abdominal discomfort. It can contribute to acne. It can contribute to a lot of things in your body. There are some good sides to it, with the calcium, the vitamin D that's in it. But there are also not so healthy side, which is saturated fats in there. And there are alternatives that nature has given us. You can do your nut milks, your cashews, your almonds. You can do oat milk. You can do soy milk. You can do hemp milk. That's a thing. There's alternatives. So if you want to try it, that's your action step. Try to try I don't know if I want to say try a recipe.
Try a certain milk. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's one. You just listed a whole bunch of different milks. Hemp milk, we didn't even talk about. You said cashew milk. Like, there's a whole bunch of them. Just try one you never tried before.
Yeah.
Or
try it and see. You never know. You might like it. That's what. Just try one. Just try it. And I will say, if somebody is at whole milk, try to drop down to 2% or 1%, because it's just so much fat in whole milk.
You don't need all that fat.
All the other stuff that's in the milk, right? Because, how do I say this? The people that regulate that say, okay, yeah, you can have bacteria in the milk. Obviously, there's going to be bacteria where this milk is being collected and the process it goes through. We're going to pasteurize it. We're going to try to kill as much bacteria as we can. But every now and then, we're going to let a certain amount of bacteria freely flow because we can't kill it all. And this is an acceptable amount of bacteria for you to consume.
And we're not talking about probiotics. We're not talking about the good bacteria.
But that's what really happens. There's an acceptable level of bacteria that we are able or permitted to consume straight from manufacturer. They say, yeah, we can't kill bacteria that comes. So just as long as they have this amount of bacteria or less, they're all right. Are we though?
No, we're not. I'm not okay with that. And I want to know if it's the same thing with cheeses, but we're out of time. We ain't gonna have a conversation. But because I like cheese. I like cheese. I don't have a lot of it, but there's a lot with cheese that is not good, but it's so good, but it's not good for you in a lot of ways. And I'm just gonna say this. I was like listening, you know, you just scroll and listen. And one of the things that that came up, we were talking about the addictive nature of cheese. The addictive nature of cheese and why that might be. So let's write that down for a future conversation, because I think there's a lot to it with cheese, and then all of us can't imagine our lives without cheese. You know, I need cheese in my omelets. I need cheese in my pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know. Exactly
I need cheese every holiday on my mac and cheese without sugar.
And no sugar. Mac and cheese. I don't even understand what the purpose of the sugar is.
We already talked about that. We're not about to talk about that right now.
This for everybody new that's watching. If you put sugar on your mac and cheese, we need to have a conversation. So just go ahead and put a comment down, and I will be looking for. I have some serious questions. No judgment, just questions.
All judgment. All judgment and a bunch of questions. Be real with the people.
Maybe it's my tone, but they're really serious questions that I have. So I'm just curious. We can have that conversation.
I'm done. Ness, thank you for the conversation today. Yes.
We're talking about psychedelic mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms. Yeah. And I think next week, if it's juicy, because next week is a holiday, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. It is MLK Day.
Not on the
16th. Yes, it is. January 16th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All right. So yes, it's a holiday.
Right. Doctor, you're right.
Dr. Martin Luther King. Yes, it is. So but you know, I'm saying that to say that we can go a little longer if we have some time, because our special guest has told me that they could be talking about this for hours. And I was like, yeah, I believe you. And I know. They said, okay, we may have to, you know, pull in the reins a little bit.
Break it up, right? Like maybe if we give the people access free for a certain amount of time on YouTube, and then the rest for our community.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We shall
because
see. Yeah.
Our people in our community, we're good to them, right? So they're exclusive for them. And so if you want to be part of that exclusive club, you have to be in the Dollar Growth Club.
There we go.
Right? Maybe a Q&A session for them, or that, you know, I'll put something up now if they have any questions that they want answered.
Yeah, why don't you do that, and we'll work on that. So next week's going to be a great topic. This week was great. I enjoyed today's conversation. It's nice.
I enjoyed it. Ugh. I just got to get my husband off of that milk. I don't know. I tried. Like, I get the oat milk.
We were brainwashed. You have to have your milk because you got to be nice and strong, and you know, without that, and like,
no, there's other healthier alternatives to get strong.
Yes, indeed.
I'm working on it.
Good luck with that. I believe in you. Thank you. All right. Well, yeah, let's hit the road on this one. Thank you again very much. So next week we'll be doing that other juicy conversation. And yeah, everybody enjoy the day. Folks in Dollar Grove Club, do your homework. Try something new. If you're in the Dollar Grove Club, if you're not in the Dollar Grove Club, try another type of milk.
Yeah.
And let us know how it is, right? You can put your comments on YouTube, even if you're not in our community. But really, why are you not in our community? That's really the question. Why are you not already in it? So join. You get a free trial, 3 days. 3 days. Just hop in there, see what we're about, participate, better your life, right? You get this plus a whole bunch more once you join us. And those of you who are in our community watching this, thank you all so much for just kind of showing up and doing a thing. Because if you're watching this and you're not in our conversation, that means that you're showing up and you're doing what you got to do and you're working on yourself. And that's all that that's all that we can ask for, because we genuinely want to see our community members grow and get better and healthier in their lives. So all right, everybody, well, enjoy your Monday. Yes. And we'll be back at it next week.
Back at it again.